They spent part of the right before class trying to straighten out my shot. It's very challenging in here because there's a lot of lines with the windows and my mat. It can never be perfectly square, but it is what it is. Okay, so we're gonna sit up tall for a moment, and I'll share a little bit about the yoga mythology that inspired this practice today. So you can go ahead, sit up tall, let the sit bones get dropped down so they're heavy into the ground. Maybe even widen them a bit if you feel like you could get a little more stable through your base. And then lengthen up through the back of your skull till you feel like there's a lift in the back of your neck. And sometimes that means we need to let the chin drop slightly toward the chest. So a lot of us have a positioning of our neck that's not optimal. So when we lift through the occipital ridge in the back and let the chin drop slightly, there's a nice lift and lengthening. And then we're going to come into Ujjayi breath. So Ujjayi breath is a little constriction in the back of your throat as you breathe in and breathe out. Most of you know this, but if you're not familiar, it's like the sound of the ocean in the back of your throat. And to get it, sometimes you need to make a sound like you're going ha, ha, fogging a mirror, but it's very quiet, very subtle. So with your lips closed as you inhale, can you create a little vibratory quality in the back of your throat? Sometimes I call it like a cat purring. And see if you can find that little vibratory quality, a little restriction in the back of your throat, like you're fogging a mirror, both on the inhale and the exhale. Maintaining a soft breath in the belly. So our practice is inspired by another story of Shiva today. So Shiva is one of the main mythological deities in the yoga tradition. And in this story, it is said that Lord Shiva swallows up disease and war and holds it safely in his throat. So there's this great battle between the gods and the demons, and I'm greatly reducing this story to make it within a minute or two. So if it interests you, you're always welcome to read more about it. But so this great battle between the gods and the demons, and when they create this great battle, there's this churning of what is called the ocean of consciousness. And I like to think that represents our own minds and our own psyches. And in this churning of the ocean of the consciousness, there was created a poison and a nectar. So that poison is the things like the war and the disease and all the kind of negative things. And maybe we can think of the negative things that poison our own minds. And they were really battling for this nectar of immortality. And this poison threatened to destroy the entire universe. So Shiva comes to the rescue and he swallows all that poison. And he doesn't digest it. Because if he did, it would harm him. And he doesn't spit it back out because then it would again create that destruction. So he holds it in his throat. And to me, this is kind of representative of how we can hold space for the negativity of the world. This is not going to go away, right? We can't eliminate all of it. We hope someday maybe we can. But we can hold space for it. And we can hold space for that own negativity that comes up for ourselves, as it always will. And it's interesting that he holds that poison in his throat center, where in the yoga tradition, the throat chakra, the word for it is Vishuddha, which means purification. So by holding space, we purify, right? When something happens and maybe we get a little angry, we want to spit the poison out at somebody else, or maybe we stuff it down and we hold it inside ourselves and we swallow it, which is harmful to ourselves. But if we can take that pause and maybe hold space for it, maybe we can transform it, we can purify it. So to me, that's kind of this message of the story, is holding space for all of it. And, you know, having gratitude for Shiva for saving us from this destruction. As you take these last few breaths, maybe we can imagine all disharmony and conflict dissolving into peace and love right now in this moment. All right, so from here, I'm going to just go ahead and open the eyes if they're closed. And I'm going to come up and show you guys a quick little visual. Maybe you want to take a peek at your screen. I'm going to show you some neck muscles. So this green stripe goes from the back of the ear and attaches all the way down to our collarbone. And then in the back, we're going to focus on these two specifically. The occipital ridge I talk about right in the back of the skull attaches to the upper back and the trapezius, where we all get sore right there on the top of the shoulder. Okay, so we're going to take a look here. I want you to bring your hands to the back of your neck and just kind of feel, palpate the flesh there. If your head is aligned in a good position, it should be kind of soft and supple. And then bring your fingers a little closer up to that occipital ridge. And now flatten your neck by dropping your chin all the way to your chest. And notice how those muscles overstretch and tighten. So a lot of us are looking down at our devices all day. Is it any wonder that we get kind of this tension headache here in the back of the neck? Now do the opposite, tip your head all the way back. And notice how it shortens and tightens and really cuts off circulation in the back of the head. So a lot of us, when we're at our computers, we kind of stick our chin out and we keep the back of our necks. And so it's like cutting off the garden hose, I call it. So there's no energy flow through the back of the neck. So let's massage that area. So from the occipital ridge, let's massage at the top. And then make your way down the sides of your neck. There are acupressure points all through here. And then as you go down the sides of your neck, make your way to those tops of the shoulders. So that's the base of the neck, the trapezius area where we often get really tight. Good. And then release that. And now we're going to do that green stripe. So behind the backs of your ears, we're going to massage there. So we often get tension back here. Behind the ears, this also ties into our jaw. And then go down the sides of your neck a bit. And then all the way into your collarbone. So massage kind of right inside your collarbone. So those muscles attach in there. Just notice for areas of soreness and tenderness in yourself. All right, go ahead and release that. And we're going to grab our strap. So we're going to take our strap and fold it in half if you have a long one. If you don't have a long one, you don't really need to fold it in half so much. But I find that the extra thickness is helpful for what we're going to do with it today. And then make sure there are no kinks in it, that is perfectly flat. If you've got long hair, it might be helpful to have a ponytail in today. I forgot to do that myself. But we're going to put it behind our heads and then make sure it's underneath your hair. Okay, and then we're going to lift it up and place it right at that occipital ridge. Elbows are wide and bent, but not too wide that your arms are straight. When you have the elbows bent, you'll have a little more traction that way. And then as your sit bones drop into the ground, try to lift the back of your skull right off of your shoulders. Press your head gently back toward the strap. and see if you can start to feel your upper back muscles contract. So the upper back muscles have a lot to do with our neck. If we're rounded in our upper back, it's going to affect our neck. And if we're weak in our upper back, it'll affect our neck. Now we're going to take an inhale, and as you exhale, twist to the right. Hold the twist and lift the back of your skull. And then pull a little bit more with your left hand to get a little more twist. And try to lift even as you pull. Good. Inhale it back to the center. And then exhale to the other side. And you're lifting the back of the skull. And then pull a little bit more with your right hand. Good. Back to the center. Inhale, lift the back of the skull one more time. Good. And then release. Okay, keep that strap nearby. We're going to work with it in a lot of different poses today, getting this neck traction. Let's come into tabletop position, all fours. And before we start our cat-cows, I want to take a moment for us to really align the head and the neck. So a lot of us, when we come into our tabletop position, our head drops below our spine. So have a sense of pressing through your palms, get really nice and long and tall through your arms. And then a lot of us, the head is kind of dipping down. As you press the floor away, lift the back of your skull. Tuck your chin in a little bit. Feel that lengthening. Imagine your strap is still there. And then press the crown of the head slightly forward. As the arms stay long, let the back of the heart soften a bit inward. So this area between the shoulder blades, the trapezius, we want it to go in rather than out when we're in neutral. Now, of course, when we do our cat-cows, that'll change. We're going to be really mindful as we begin to come into our cow position. So cow is when we look up, but I want you to initiate from your sit bones and your tailbone. Lift the sit bones and the tailbone up, keep your belly toned, and now start to lift your gaze. Just slightly, and feel the upper back. That's where I want you to focus. We're strengthening that upper back. Contract those muscles. And then as you exhale, we're going to round, and then we release. Press through your palms, spread your shoulder blades, shake your head out. And then let's go ahead and do a few cycles with that nice focus on the upper back and the neck. So be super mindful that you don't kink the garden hose. So we tend to just take that head back, and we don't keep that nice length in the back of the neck. We'll also look at that in our cobras. So 2 more cycles. After your second cycle, go ahead and take your child's pose. Nice work, go nice and slow so that you can keep that mindful awareness to your neck. So go ahead, take a breath in child's pose. And then while you're in your child's pose, put your, stack up your palms underneath your forehead. And then press your forehead slightly into your palms. Tuck your chin inward a little bit so you feel that back of the neck lengthen. And now we're going to try and lift the head up, keeping the upper spine in. Press your arms down into the ground, and we're strengthening that upper back. Hold it there, arms pressed down, chin is tucked in, and then release. Okay, from here, grab a block. And we're going to come into kind of a puppy position, what I call. It's kind of like halfway between child's pose and down dog. Place your block right in front of you on your mat. And then you're going to turn your palms upward. So your pinky fingers are touching the block. Try to turn your palms all the way open, aim your thumbs toward the ground. And then squeeze the block in between your arms. Maybe you'll feel some engagement through your arms, maybe even through your upper back. And then we take an inhale, and as you exhale, start to move back towards child's pose. Keep squeezing that block as you move back. And then inhale, come forward. Exhale, move back. One more time. Now this time, as you come back, come all the way, like maybe not towards child's pose all the way. You might even tuck your toes under, you're part way, but we're gonna start to lift the block with your hands. And we're gonna bring the block behind the back of the head, let the head come down. And then drag your hips back, get a little stretch through your triceps. And you're gonna get a feeling in that upper back. Think about the upper spine moving inward. So this is strengthening for that upper back. Good. All right, go ahead and release that, and we're going to slide forward onto our bellies. And then stack your palms up again like we did in child's pose. Tuck your chin in. So you feel like that back of the neck is nice and long. And then pull the tailbone down toward the ground. From here, we're just going to lift the elbows off the ground. Lift the elbows and move them a little forward toward the top of your mat. Tailbone down. Really squeeze those elbows up. And release. So I want you to do that one 2 more times. Elbows are going to lift. And reach them a little bit forward. And see if you can feel the muscles engaging around your upper back, your trapezius. Release and do that one more time. See if you can hold it and squeeze it for an extra moment. The tailbone down will help the lower back, especially in this next part. Now we're going to add a lift up. So I want you to keep the chin a little tucked in. Your forehead and your hands pressing into each other. And we're going to try and lift the arms, the head, and the hands together in one piece. Okay? So tailbone down, lift the elbows first. Get that upper back turned on, and then lift. Press the tailbone down as you lift your head, hands, and arms. And let it go. Okay, so 2 more now like that. Lift the elbows first, get the upper back turned on. Then try to lift up. Keep pulling your tailbone down into the ground. It's like a lever. When that goes down, it's easier to lift the upper body up. And then release and try it one more time. Elbows lift first. Head and hands press. Tailbone down. Good, release. Take a pause. And then we're coming up into Sphinx posture. So these are all like some preliminary things that are going to help when we get into our flow. We'll be in our Sphinx. Press down through your arm bones, your palms, lift your chest. And now we want to get that upper spine working. So we're going to drag our hands toward our hips and bring the back of the heart inward. You want to feel that contraction in the upper back muscles. Chin is level with the floor. Try not to kink your neck. And now look over your right shoulder as you keep pulling that heart forward. And come back to center and look over your left shoulder. Lengthening the sides of the neck. Do that one more time each side. Good. Back to the center and release. Okay, shake up the hips a little bit. We're going to try Cobra now with this awareness to the neck and the lengthening of the neck, and then we'll get moving. So from here, slide your hands back by your lower chest. Thumbs are kind of in line with your chest. And then forehead is going to be on the ground. Tuck your chin in. Feel that back of the neck lengthen. Now, before we lift our head, I'm lifting mine because I want to talk to you, but you keep your forehead on the ground. I want you to lift your shoulder heads and get that upper back to engage. Pull your hands towards your hips. Press your tailbone down and then start to come up, but don't lift your chin. We often lift our chin here. We keep our neck. Keep your collarbone smiling broad. Use those back muscles. Good, release. Let's do that again. Forehead down. Lift the shoulder heads. Hold the tailbone down. Chin stays tucked in a bit. Lengthen the back of your skull. And now lift up. Now, if you can maintain the back of the neck length, start to take your gaze up. You get a little bit more back bend, but don't cut off that energy flow. And release. A lot harder when we do it correctly, but we want to strengthen our backs. Last round, chin in, shoulders lift very first. Don't lift the head before the shoulders. And then come up. Maybe starting to take that head back a bit. Release. And then let's press into tabletop position. Find that neutral neck again. Lift the back of your skull. Press through your palms. And now imagine your spine is like a fish moving through water. We're going to take an inhale, and as you exhale, look over your right shoulder and try to bring your right hip towards your head. And then back through center and over to the other side. So you're getting a little side bending action. And try to keep your head and spine all in one straight line, although we're going into a side bend. So your head is not dipping below your spine. One more each side. Good, back to center. Step your hands a little forward of your shoulders. Make sure your palms are just a hair turned out and lift up to down dog. Once you're there, go ahead, pedal it out, move around, shake out your head. Good, now pause in your dog. And we're going to come into the high heel version of down dog. So lift your heels high off the ground. Let your sit bones rise and tip your sit bones up. Firm your arm muscles, especially the shoulder, outer shoulder muscles. Tuck your chin a little bit and feel like your skull is really nice and long. And your skull is kind of hanging from deep in your spine, lengthening. Last breath. All right, from here, we're going to come into plank pose. So make any adjustments to your feet. Be in the top of a push-up. Push through your palms long through your spine. Little tuck of your tailbone. And lift the back of your skull. Chin is in. Feel that length. Take it back to dog. Let's try a few rounds, dog to plank, with that awareness to the back of the skull, not dropping below the rest of your spine. Take it back. One more time. This time, walk your hands back to your feet, fold forward over your legs. Inhale, halfway lift, hold the halfway lift. Here's another place where we often stick our chin out and kink our neck. So I want you to look down instead of up at me. Press your hands into your thighs, reach your chest forward, tuck your chin, lift the back of your skull and lengthen from your tailbone to the crown of your head. Tone your belly and see if you can reach your arms out to the sides. Use those upper back muscles to lift your arms, engage them behind the shoulder blades. Reach the crown of the head forward. Now take your hands behind your back, see if you can interlace your hands, lift your shoulder heads and keep that lengthening. Chin tucked in a little bit. Lift the back of your skull. Good, release, fold forward. Inhale, we rise all the way up. Exhale, draw your hands to your heart. Good. Okay, feet about hips distance apart. Take your hands, interlace them behind the back of your skull. Feel that lift with your hands like we did with the strap. Keep the elbows wide. Take an inhale here, exhale, bend the knees a little bit and hinge forward. Come into that halfway up shape. Press your head up into your hands, lift your elbows, tuck your chin, and lengthen the crown of the head. You can stay here or you can fold all the way down, but keep that upper spine drawing in. Elbows stay wide. Head presses into the hands. Now to come up, bend your knees, press your head into your hands. Try not to round your back. And we come all the way up. Good. And let's release. Arms down. All right, couple sun cells. Get the energy moving a little bit. See if you can stay with that mindful awareness of the back of the neck in your planks and in your cobras. So top of the mat. And let's inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold forward over your legs. Inhale to your halfway lift. Find that length in your spine. Step back, plank pose. Pause in your plank, push through your palms, and you can lower either all the way down for a cobra or take an up dog. Same actions in your up dog with the back of the neck. Downward facing dog. Big inhale in your dog. Exhale, step or lightly jump, top of the mat. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, draw hands to heart. Good, let's do one more cycle like that. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway. Plant your hands, step back, plank pose. Your choice, lower down, cobra, or halfway down, upward dog. Try to use those upper back muscles. Don't kink your neck. Downward facing dog. Big inhale here, exhale, step or jump, top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands to your heart. All right, we're gonna do one more standing thing here, and then we're gonna do a couple more, build in some warriors and some other poses. We're gonna stand and take right arm up. Take it behind the back of your head and hold your elbow. Slide your right hand toward your outer right shoulder so you spiral that arm into center a bit more. And try to press your head and arm into each other, which strengthens the side of the neck. Tailbone down, root through your legs. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, side bend to your left. But keep pressing your head and arm into each other. Now from here, turn your gaze up to the right. And really press your head and arm into each other. Good, inhale, come up to center. 2 more times in this direction. Lift up, press your head and arm, side bend, look up. And that pressure, inhale, come up. 1 more time. Keep moving that hand toward outer shoulder and side bend, turn your gaze. Good, inhale, come up and release. Good, other side, reach the arm up. Take it behind the back of your head, hold the elbow, move your hand toward the outer left shoulder, and then press your head and arm into each other. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, side bend. Keep pressing head and arm, and then turn your head to look up. Good, 2 more times on your own. Last one. Remember to lengthen up. Good, and release. Shake that head out a little bit. And then let's go ahead and go through another round. Sun salutation, we'll build some things in. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold forward over your legs. Inhale your halfway lift. You can always skip the vinyasa and go right to dog, or you can lower down, cobra, or your up dog. So step back right to dog if you want to skip that vinyasa. You can also step in your poses if you don't want to do all the weight bearing, okay? All right, as you're ready, inhale your right leg straight up behind you. We're gonna step through to warrior one. So you're gonna spin your back heel down, bend your front knee, and inhale, reach your arms up. From here, interlace your hands behind the back of your head and press your head back into your hands. Keep your elbows wide. Try to activate those upper back muscles. Lift the back of your skull, slight lowering of your chin. And then let's bend a little deeper into that front knee. Inhale, keep the elbows wide. Exhale, hinge forward. Keep the right sit bone hugging in. And try to pause where you feel like you can still press your head into your hands and keep your elbows lifting. Hold there, one more breath. And then we're gonna rise back up. Good, release, stretch your arms up. And then open it up to a warrior two. So warrior two, your chest starts to face the long edge of your mat. Arms in line with your shoulders. We're gonna gaze toward the center at first and take your back hand, so your left hand, behind the back of your skull. And lift that back of the skull up. Now keep bending into your front knee and press that front knee open like it's pressing toward the side wall. Keep the skull lifting and now start to turn your head to look over the front hand. Release your left hand and reach more with your left hand. One more breath. From here, cartwheel your hands down, step back, downward facing dog. You're welcome to take vinyasas in between sides if you want. You can hold your dog. Child's pose anytime you need one. Inhale when you're ready, left leg up. Step it through to warrior one. Inhale, circle the arms up. And then hands behind the back of the skull. Interlace your hands. Lift the back of the skull with your hands, elbows wide. Bend a little deeper into your front knee, and then feel like you're lifting the front of your pelvis up, so we're not dropping into that lower back. Inhale here, exhale, hinge forward, keeping those elbows wide. Press your head up into your hands, which will help you activate those upper back muscles. Good, inhale, coming up as you press your head into your hands, release your arms, open it up, warrior two. Good. Right hand behind the back of the skull, lift it up. Keep lifting it, and then turn your head to look over your front hand. Release that back hand and reach more through that back hand. Good, cartwheel your hands down, step it back, vinyasa if you would like. Good, from here, take an inhale, exhale, step or lightly jump, top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Good, stay in the forward fold a bit. Maybe widen your feet. And you can either do hands interlaced behind the back of the skull or hold opposite elbows. But let's see if we can get the upper spine muscles to activate in our forward fold. So sometimes in a forward fold, it's nice to be a bit rounded in our spines, very more soothing for our nervous system. Today, we're really working those upper back muscles. Hold it there for 2 more breaths. And get those elbows wide if you have hands behind the head. Press your head into your hands. Good, when you're ready, let's go ahead, bend those knees, bring hands to hips and press all the way up. Okay, make sure you have a block at the top of your mat, just one block. We're going to use that in our next warrior sequence. And also keep your strap nearby so it's within reach. Okay. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold forward over your legs. Inhale, halfway lift, vinyasa, or right to your downward facing dog. Your choice. Back to that warrior 1 sequence. Inhale, reach your right leg up. Step it through. And we're going to grab our block as we come up. Bend into your front knee. And we're going to take the block behind the back of the head. Pull the elbows in close towards each other, toward the sides of your head. Really ground through your back foot. And then press your head and block into each other. Bend a little deeper into your front knee if you can. See if you can activate those upper back muscles. Good, now from here, take your block, reach it up. Keep the back of the neck long, and we're going to hinge forward. As you hinge forward, try to keep that spine nice and long. Don't round it, tuck your chin, and reach the crown of the head forward. Good, set your block down, open it up, warrior 2. So I'm just switching my orientation. Okay, grab your strap this time. And some of you, if your strap's really long like mine, the strap is folded in half. And we're going to take the strap around the back of the head. Make sure it's under your hair. And we're going to lift the back of the skull. Keep your elbows wide. Press that knee open. And really lift and traction your skull. Okay, from here, we're going to straighten the front leg, preparing for triangle pose. And we're going to pull the back arm straight and keep the front arm bent. Now from here, you're going to look forward toward the front of the room. Keep lifting the back of your skull and start to come into triangle with your arms in this position. Keep your head pressing back into the strap. Pull on that top arm. Hip shift towards your back foot. Good, slowly rise up. Good, bend into your front knee, come back to center. Good, inhale, straighten that front leg again, triangle. And now straighten the front arm. Take your gaze toward the back hand. Lift the back of the skull and come into triangle. Any amount, you don't have to go far, up to you. And now you're looking up. And the back of the head presses toward the strap. Go as far as you like here. And then rise back up. Bend your knee. Good. From here, come to center, parallel your feet. Keep that strap behind the back of your head. Lift and traction the back of the skull. Feet are parallel. And then we're going to bend those knees a little bit. Keep your head pressing back. Activate upper back muscles. Take an inhale. Exhale, hinge forward. Come about halfway. See if you can pause. And activate, use those upper back muscles. You can stay or you can fold all the way. Keep your head pressing into that strap. The knees can be as bent as you need to. Maybe you'll straighten and lift your sit bones. pull on the strap, tuck your chin. Good, release the strap down, hands come to the floor. Inhale to your halfway lift, chin is tucked, back of the skull lengthens. From here, lunge to your right, stretch the inseam of your leg. And keep that left foot sealing into the pinky edge to stretch that inner thigh. And then over to the other side. I think we did this one the other week. So right pinky stays grounded so we get the arch to lift in the foot. One more time each side. This is just preparing for a seated pose later. And last time on the other side. Back to the center, and we're going to circle it around toward the front of your mat. Drop down onto your back knee and grab your strap again. Hope I remember all that. That was a long sequence. We're going to take that strap behind the back of the neck and lift the back of the skull again. Elbows wide. Activate your upper back. Take an inhale. Exhale. Go ahead, slide a little deeper into your front knee, but keep hooking your tailbone forward. From here, start to take your gaze up, but lift and lengthen back of skull here. And come as far into the back bend as it feels good for you. Elbows wide. One more breath. Good. Slowly reach the arms up. Set your strap down. Step it back, downward facing dog. Vinyasa or child's pose. That was a lot of work. So take that child's pose if you need it. Stay in dog as another option. Let's take one more breath wherever you are. And we'll try to do that whole thing on the other side. So up to dog if you're in a child's pose. Inhale, left leg up. Step it through. We're coming into the warrior one position. Grab your block and come on up to stand, or up to your warrior pose. Take the block behind the back of your skull. Good, elbows hug in. Press your head and block into each other. Bend a little deeper into your front knee. See if you can really press into the outer edge of the back foot, which will also help engage that outer hip muscle. Good, stretch your block up. Press your hands into the block and start to hinge forward. And as you come forward, tuck your chin, lengthen the back of your skull, front sit bone hugs in. Good, set the block down. You might grab your strap right away and come on up into your warrior two. Good. All right, so let's take that strap behind the back of the head. And one more time, we're gonna lift the back of the skull. Come into warrior two initially. Activate upper back muscles. Good, straighten that front leg, straighten the back arm, and look forward. Come into Trikonasana. Hips are shifting toward that back foot. You're starting to look down toward your big toe. Good, and then come on up, bend into your warrior two again. Good, straighten that leg. Now we're going to straighten the front arm and look toward the back arm so that when we tip into our Trikonasana, we're looking upward. Come as far as it feels right for you. Really ground through your heels. Good, slowly rise up. Bend your knee, warrior two. Straighten your front leg, parallel your feet. This time, let the strap come down. Don't throw it too far away. You'll need it for your lunge. Hands behind the back of the head this time. Lift the back of the skull. Keep elbows wide. Chin a little tucked. Feel like you're lifting the back of your skull, and then try to activate upper back muscles by pulling your elbows back. Bend your knees. Inhale, hinge forward. Keep that lengthening, tractioning. Stay halfway or fold all the way. Getting that upper spine to move in. The knees might stay bent. You might start to lift your sit bones and lengthen. Keep drawing the elbows wide. And then finally release those hands down, come to the halfway up shape. Let's do those lunges to the right. Pinky toe presses down, pinky side presses down, and lunge to the other side. So try not to collapse the arch on the straight leg. One more time each side. Chip our time. Back to the center. Let's pivot around to the front of your mat. Drop your back knee, and then grab your strap. Strap comes behind the back of the head again. I hope I didn't confuse you guys. Sometimes I get a little confused when I'm trying to move around and face the camera. Hands behind the strap behind the back of the head, lift your skull. And then from here, you might deepen into your front knee, hooking the tailbone. And as you lift the back of the skull, you might be able to come into your back bend here. Good, slowly coming back up. Release, step it back, downward facing dog, vinyasa, child's pose, dog. You got the options. And actually, let's all take a brief child's pose before we go through this one more time. And we're going to add on one more pose with the strap. So take 2 more breaths in your child's pose. All right, downward facing dog as you are ready. Keep the strap within reach at the top of your mat. It's not there. And let's inhale the right leg up. Step through warrior 1, grab your strap right away. All right, so take that strap behind the back of the head again, last round here. And we're gonna lift the back of the skull with the strap. From here, step your back foot in a bit. We're gonna do pyramid pose now. So pyramid, both legs now are straight. Straighten your front leg. Hug your inner thighs. Lift the back of the skull, take the elbows wide. Take an inhale, lengthen, and as you exhale, start to come forward, keeping that upper back in. Go as far as you like here, pressing your head into the strap. Hold it if you can for an extra moment or two, chin tucked in. Good, and then release your strap. Bring your hands down to the floor or your blocks. Inhale to your halfway lift without lifting your chin. Exhale, now fold inward. And you can let that spine be a little rounded now. Chin tucks in, crown of the head releases. Let your hips swing a little bit towards your back foot and push forward with your front foot, letting that chin come in as you fold. Back of the neck should be clear. All right, go ahead and then come up halfway, bend into that front knee, step it back, down dog. That's it, last cycle. We're doing it one more time. Take the vinyasa if you want. And then when you're ready, we're gonna come into warrior 1 on the other side. Left foot forward, grab your strap right away, and we're coming up. Good, strap behind the back of the head. Okay, last time for this. Straighten that front leg, step the back foot in a little bit, preparing for your pyramid. Outer hip squeeze in. Inhale, lift, open the elbows. Exhale, start to come forward. Chin is in. Keep lifting the elbows as you come down. Get that upper spine turned on. Stay as long as you can with the strap. So maybe you're going to fold a little bit. Maybe not. Eventually let that strap go. Let the hands come down, floor or blocks. Hip shift a little bit toward that back foot. Push forward with your front foot to get those hips to go back. And then chin comes into your chest just a little bit. So you can really be loose in the back of your skull. Try not to jam your knees, slight bend in that front knee. One more breath. When you're ready, coming up halfway, bend that knee, step it back, downward facing dog. And then let's meet in our child's pose. Nice work, everybody. Let's take a couple breaths in child's pose, and we're going to do some bridge work. Keep working on that upper back strength. And we'll finish with a seated posture. All right, let's come up and we're going to come on our backs and we're going to need our blocks and our strap. So if you don't have those things, you can always just do regular bridge without. Hopefully you have them for today. We used them quite a bit. So we're going to come down. Let's put one block between our feet and it's going to go on the tall setting so that it's flat on the ground but horizontal. So long or vertical rather, not horizontal, vertical. So that's right between your feet. Unless you have really wide, you want to go wider, that's fine. But for me, that narrow stance is best. And then we're going to come into supported bridge. So other block is going to go right under the back of your pelvis. And we're going to pause there. We're going to bring the arms into robot arms, so palms facing, and the forearms are off the ground. Okay, as best you can, once you're in this position, don't turn your head to the side. Keep your gaze upward. Just try to follow the cues. From here, we're going to press the shoulders into the ground, press the arms, the elbows into the ground. Start to feel the chest lift away from the ground. Gently press the back of your skull and see if you can come into a back bend. Now you want to walk those shoulders in a bit and try to activate through the upper back if you can. Hold here, pressing into those arm bones, lifting your chest. Good, relax. Grab your strap. Now you can open that strap up long now if it's folded. We're going to bend the knees, bring them off the ground, and take your strap around your ankles. And then put your feet back down, hugging the block. And now hold as close to your feet as you can so the strap is tight. And we're going to roll the arms open toward the outside of your mat and get the shoulder blades to squeeze in towards each other. Really open your chest. Now we're going to stay here. Pull on the strap. Press your shoulder heads down. Activate those upper back muscles. Hold it, one more breath. Okay, release. Lift your hips, slide your block out. Now we're going to try full bridge with the strap. hold the strap close to your feet. Tuck your shoulders in a bit. Start to lift your hips up a little bit. Wiggle your shoulders in. And now lift the hips up all the way. Really press your tailbone up and then roll your arms open and bring those shoulders in as close as you can on your back. Press gently into your head, your arms, your feet. Really lift your hips and pull on the strap. Try to get this back bend into your upper back by pressing your shoulders down. Good. Slowly coming down from the top. Let your shoulders slide out. Come all the way down and take a pause. Let your spine be neutral for a moment. Nice breath in the belly. And then maybe turn your head right to left a few times. Sometimes we can accumulate tension in the neck there. Good. Take the block and strap out of your way and windshield wiper your knees side to side. Come back to center, walk your feet back into hips distance, pull your tailbone toward your feet, and then hug your knees into your chest. So we get that length in the lower back after the back bend. Okay, set those feet down and roll to your side. We're going to come on up to sit for one last pose. So you're going to sit on a prop if you want, maybe like a pillow or a blanket. Have your strap available. And we're going to take the legs into our wide leg straddle again. So we've been working on this pose a lot. Toes point up. Now, if this is a challenging pose for you, do it with your knees bent so you can be on the tops of your sit bones. Okay, and then we're going to take our strap and have that fold again if you have the long strap. And put it behind the back of the head one more time. So really ups our game with our forward folds if we can activate the back muscles. Root your thighs down, lift the back of the skull, elbows wide. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, start to hinge forward. And your pelvis is tipping here. So you're rolling toward the fronts of your sit bones. Chin in, lengthen the back of the skull, but elbows wide. Go as far as you can, and then maybe hold it. Don't overdo. Keep using those back muscles. Eventually, you let the strap come down and fold forward. Let the spine relax. All right, slowly walk it up. Grab the strap again. Behind the back of the head. Lift the skull, and now we're going to turn to the right. Keep that opposite leg rooting down. Lift the back of your skull, elbows wide, all the same actions. And now hinge toward your right leg. Keep those arms open. Upper spine muscles engage as long as you can. And then eventually let go of the strap. Let the hands come down. You can stay up higher, or you can fold in a little deeper if you like. Now let the spine be a little rounded. Especially toward the end of our practice, we can be more calming for the nervous system. Good. I wanted you to get that experience of engaging the back muscles into our fold to start. All right, one more side to go. Slowly bring it back up through the center, come through center, and let's do that just one more time. Hands behind the back of the head. Okay, lift the skull. Inhale, as you exhale, twist. Keep lifting the back of the skull, lengthen, and then begin your fold. Keep your head pressing back toward the strap, chin in. And then when you've gone far enough, let the strap go and allow the spine to round. Good. Slowly walk your back up. Use your hands, bring the knees out and feet together for bound angle position. Inhale, lift your chest. See if you can activate those back muscles here initially. Hinge forward. Walk your hands out any amount. And eventually let the spine round. All right, slowly walk yourself back up. Use your hands. Let's bring those knees in and make your way onto your back. Once you're down on your back, take a nice full body stretch. And then hug your knees into your chest. Maybe you want a pillow under your head here. Rock a little side to side. Excuse me. And then from here, let's go ahead and take your happy baby. Remember, in your happy baby, let's keep the spine neutral. So if you don't need the pillow here, you could let your chin come in, lengthen the back of your neck. Maybe even press the back of your head gently into the ground here as you draw your shoulder blades down. Maybe a little rocking or be still. All right, hug those knees into the chest one more time. Set your feet flat on the ground, arms at your side, palms up. Turn your head to the right and press your left shoulder into the ground. And then take your head to the left and press your right shoulder into the ground. Turn your head to the right. Gently press your head into the ground. Press your shoulder into the ground. And reach a little bit through that opposite arm. Maybe the elbow is going to lift off the ground. And then relax, other side. Turn your head to the left. Press it into the ground. Press your shoulder for a moment. And then reach through your arm. Maybe the elbow lifts. Back to the center. And now just gently roll your head right to left a few more times. So the connection between any pinch muscles in our neck and shoulder, and oftentimes elbow, wrist pain as well. Okay, head back to the center. Lengthen out through your tailbone. And then find your Shavasana. If you need one more knee hug or any last minute pose, feel free. If you want to add any props, grab those. And we'll find Shavasana. You might even want to roll the blanket a bit to support the back of your neck if you're using a blanket under your head. Let your shoulder blades start to melt into the ground once you are settled. So feel the opening across your collarbone. Maybe the palms could be turned up, which will help open the chest and the collarbones again. Softening the neck muscles, the back of the skull. Imagine that area of the occiput really relaxing into the ground. A lot of times there's congestion in the neck. If we round our shoulders with that rounded upper back, so we worked on all those upper back muscles to support the neck. Make sure your chin is slightly drawing toward your chest so you don't feel like your chin is sticking up and the back of the neck is kinked. Into your very soft, subtle breath. And once again, just kind of imagining this dissolving, the sense of dissolving of conflict, disharmony, war. Allow it dissolve into peace and love. Our practice itself is a process of purification of our minds and our bodies. Maybe we feel a little bit less of the poison after we've done the work of our practice, our tapas. Maybe we experience a little bit more of the nectar, that soothing balm, said to be a gift from the divine. It is often said if we're aligned correctly, we can kind of catch more of that nectar rather than allowing it to be burned up. All right, so we're going to take our time now, coming back to awareness. Just allowing a couple moments to deepen breath and take small movements. Just move very slowly. You need to eventually hug knees or stretch it out. And do so before coming over onto your side for a pause. When you do come up, use your arms rather than your back to come up. So press in your arms, bring your head up last, and let's find a seated position. We'll try to sit up tall, find that optimal alignment. Little drop of the chin, a lift of the back of the skull. Catching that nectar. Let your face be soft, maybe closing your eyes. Coming back to the ujjayi breath in the throat. I'll share one more little reading before we close. So we can learn from this story how to care for people in the world, how to work together to mitigate the poison that is day after day showing us. We have many poisons to contend with. We end up projecting our own poisons onto the world, finding more pleasure and comfort in the pain and failures of others than their successes. Our culture is hurling poison at the environment. The pollution of air, water, soils from toxic chemicals. Our bodies have potential poisons from what we ingest, from the polluted world around us. So we might ask, what is the secret of how to handle the poison and find the nectar? Shiva's throat is blue from having drunk the poison, but the poison never reaches his heart. He holds it at the level of the throat. The inner heart, the seat of the soul, is ever free of this poison and is untouched by whatever happens in the realm of time, space, and action. So we must learn to hold the poison at the level of the throat, not let it reach the heart. And this is to turn the poison to nectar at the level of the throat, the seat of our discriminating mind and our yogic thought. The real poison being the ego itself, which is the outer self born of desire and time. And whatever the ego becomes fixated on can become a kind of poison. But we can remember the ego is not our true self, the real soul within us. The poisoned or toxic self reflects the influence of the forces of time and disintegration around us. So when life's poisons come to us, let us remember the sacrifice of Shiva. Let us remember that whatever poison we do not react to, but rather look for the nectar hidden behind it, it becomes neutralized. Let's bring our hands together now in front of the heart space. Take an inhale, and as we exhale, bowing the head to the heart. And thank you so much, everyone. Namaste.